Woo! What's up? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. How's everybody feeling? Me and my son taking this trip to a gun shop in PA, Pennsylvania for all you commoners. How y'all feeling? We got to get y'all up and at 'em. Up and at 'em.
Now for a lesson. You may have heard these words before, but I'll teach you what they really mean. Go beyond! Plus!
Gonna get y'all up in this joint.
By the power of Grayskull.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Let me know you in the building. Wait a few minutes since I got to take this drive, about an hour drive. Might as well talk and check up with you all. Nah. Who do we have watching? Who's coming to get some knowledge or my expertise in the subject matter? Yes, yes, yes. We're going to touch on a little touchy subject today. We're going to learn today. Yes, yes, yes. People, party people, how y'all feeling? Show us the money. Oh, man. You know where I got this idea from? It was from Sergeant Dorsey Speaks. Shout out to Sergeant Dorsey. I mean, I respect her career. I was on her channel one time, but sometimes I think the liberalism just comes out of people. And people don't live in reality, okay? I just picked my son up from school when there was like 5 police vehicles, cruisers, because of a school fight. Now, you know that I'm the guy who says there's a place and there's a time. Of course. Of course. But a lot of people do not want to, they don't want to see the reality. That children are not as innocent as they think, especially when they go up in the middle school area. Now, do I think we should put 6-year-olds in handcuffs? Not necessarily. Situation dictates. Because, people will say, wow, are you scared of a 5-year-old? But then when I restrained a 5-year-old using my brute strength, you want to say something about that as well. And I think it gets to a touchy subject because people don't want to really answer. Like, some of these kids are off the hook. Hopefully most are not. But a lot of times as parents, you got to realize your children are totally different people when they're in school with their friends and their classmates than they are at home. And regardless of what people feel, what they think, what they say, I'm here to open up some ideas because I know in the county they have what's called a SRO, school resource officer. In the city we have school police. So they have their own police chief and everything. They're separate from Baltimore Police Department. And it's interesting because a lot of people look at the police as a necessary evil, or how you like it. But I think it's interesting because if you set up programs for the police to talk to young children, you eliminate a lot of the fear. You come to an understanding. Oh, you might actually like them. But do you need heavy-handed tactics if you're a school police officer or school resource officer? No. I think a lot of times people have to have the right, like I do agree with Sergeant Dorsey, you have to have the right people at the right situations in the right time. And there are sometimes you got to throw the hammer and sometimes you got to throw the olive leaf. There are times when people are like, why you got that kid in handcuffs? I'm like, look, there are times you're going to have children in handcuffs. And I'm sorry, I have a very distinct definition between children and teenagers. You're not a child. Stop treating people who are stop treating people who are bigger than some adults as just children. I think that's one of the realistic problems that we have here. Is that you got to treat them as young adults, prepare them for full-fledged adulthood, as a matter of fact. The saddest part about it is that you have incidents where kids are acting off the hook, and you got to settle that kid down. Yes, are there times you're going to place children in handcuffs? Unfortunately. Is it every time you're going to Iraq? Hell no. Situations dictate. Yep, they got different names for school police, I'll tell you that much now. Different names. And what we got to remember is that not everybody's built for children. Not everybody. It takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of patience. Especially when you're dealing with children from who God only knows what type of households. You can't even understand the limits that some people have to go through just to even talk or just to reach out to a child. Then you got to think about it. What if this child has any, mental disabilities that might occur? So sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do to settle the child down. Sometimes talking is enough. Sometimes, hey, won't do that here is enough. And sometimes you gotta grab them up and be like, hey, what are you doing? But I really think that reality should always dictate. Should you have specialized training? Yeah, sure. I'm not against it. Specialized training to work in schools. Let's go for it. Here's what you want to do. you're gonna need one. You're gonna have to take up child psychology course. In my view, either you go to the college or the police department that you work for has it. Now, I do think that that police officer should also be an intricate part of that school, not only just as much as a teacher or as a coach or anyone in there. Take it from here. I've been coaching for 22 years, and a lot of teachers get to know your name and say, hey, such and such not going to class, and we're going to rectify that situation. You're going to have to get some more people into. Actually, let me roll the windows up. I don't even know what else. Hey, that's what happens when you're driving out in these streets. The ambo come past. Well, no, the fire engine. But yeah, you're gonna have to have some type of training how to deal with kids, de-escalation, and things of that nature, which most officers are decent at, pretty good at. But you have some who are exemplary in it, some who are going to be better. A lot of these students, when they come to these schools, they already have their preconceived notions about police anyway. And most of the time, it's because they heard it from a friend or a family member or whoever. And by the time they actually speak to that officer, they're like, oh, I thought officers were like this. And most children are going to have curious questions to ask. Some funny, some downright weird. Especially to the point where you're like, why are children asking these questions? But you'd rather them get it from the source than go by their own, their own understanding. I think they need to actually bring police officers back into, the elementary schools to talk to children. I've done it several times. And I've gotten every question you can be asked about police, law enforcement, our procedures. Do you really hit people with that stick? Do you arrest kids? I think it's one of those things up there. What's up, New Style? Funny said I told my son after listening to you about you, Charles, and about joining the police. He's a police cadet. That's what's up. Congratulations. So I'm thankful for police presence in my son's school. I'm in Baltimore County. See, I think that a lot of this can be, solved if you had more parent participation in the schools. Because let's face it, a lot of these schools are just glorified babysitters. The parents are never there. Parents cannot give a damn. And what gets frustrating, and this is just from a coach, and I'm not a teacher, I can tell you in 22 years how many parents I knew on one hand that would come to the matches or support the team. And I'll probably have about, 3 fingers left over. Parents do not care. And on top of that, I could see a lot of the behavioral issues that come from a lot of this. You're getting a lot of behavioral issues due to the parents not caring. No, you're gonna just bump me over, dude? Damn. People don't know how to drive on Friday. I tell you that much. Sheesh. But a lot of it stems to you don't want the police there, but you want a bunch of kids safe. And I'm like, look, I'm fortunate that we didn't have any of those Columbine, Sandy Hook incidents. And yeah, shout out to Spain, you know, because a lot of times, parents would tell their kids, "Oh, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't join that police department. Oh no, that's a white folks police department. You don't belong there." Stop limiting your children, and shout out to him for not doing that. A lot of people don't even understand that the fact of the matter is when it comes to the police officers, why don't you start up a school board and actually monitor and actually have a screening of who gets to be a school police officer or a school resource officer? Why not start up that parents association for that? But you know what's gonna happen? People are gonna complain because you know why? It's too much work. I remember, Sergeant Dorsey was talking on this news report stating that, well, you need to get the right people. Yeah, but what are the right people? And at the same time, she being an officer and a sergeant for 20 plus years, come on now, you know exactly how these schools are. That's, so we can't be people who are negligent in our own children. We can't be negligent in saying, "Hey, these kids here, they need some guidance." Well, that's your perfect. It's a damn shame that sometimes you may be the only person that's an authority figure that gives a damn. When you have to use some type of disciplinary action against a kid who all they want is attention. And even if it's disciplinary action, they'll accept it. What we need to really figure out and do is actually make these places actual institutions of learning instead of being just a glorified babysitter. You got guys out there like Art New Style, shout out to him being a college professor and an administrator. What happens is that we expect people like him and other teachers out there to pull miracles out of their behind with no support. Trust me. That department head is going to be on the backs of the teachers. That principal is going to be on the backs of those department heads, and that superintendent is going to be on that principal's ass, and it should be the parent who should be on the superintendent's ass. But guess what happens? The ball gets dropped. The narrative gets changed. Maybe. If they offer enough money, like, shoot, I have a beat your kids doctrine, man. Beat your kids, beat your kids, beat your kids. The insanity of it is that we expect people to literally go out there, and make a miracle work. Well, number one, the police can do what they can do, and people are saying, "Well, you placed my kid in handcuffs." Because one, look at how your kid was acting. I've seen it. Like a lot of these teachers would tell me they don't even know who these kids' parents look like. They don't even know what these kids' parents look like. They never had a conversation on the phone or anything. And what makes it even more ridiculous is that you would have kids out there who, unfortunately, their parents don't never seen their report cards. Their parents don't care. Their parents are so interested in trying to get their asses out the house so they can live their best life. How you gonna live your best life when you still need to raise your damn kids? Now, the type of police officer who needs to be in there, I'm not saying he needs to be a jump out boy or SWAT. You do have to be somebody who's physically fit and adaptable. Can't be one of them people who get slept on all the time. Well, there's no real difference between a black city. There's no real difference if you think about it, brotherly love. There's no real difference. The only difference is the area codes and maybe the slang. I'm still tripping out about everybody saying the word John. In Philly, but you know what? I need to go visit Philly again sometime soon because I like that little. Y'all have like this one. I think she's like the first black female to own a comic book shop. I visited that one with my ex-girlfriend a few years back, and y'all have a lot of good comic book shops and a lot of nice consignment stores and shoe stores out there that I love. So. And I probably got to go to the hood to get the greatest cheesesteak in the world. It was kind of funny because when I was in school, a lot of the officers, man, a lot of the officers be there at the basketball games, and God knows if you didn't have police at the basketball games, we all know how that shit would have turned out. We had them at my wrestling matches. They were like, man. They were like, dude, you remind me of such and such from back yesteryear somewhere. Of course, they're at the football games. Well, you got to think about it. It was something funny when you had a cop who was like coaching wrestling. Think about this. You kill a lot of the stereotypes that these young kids aren't willing to learn. The problem is you're not willing to teach them. Yes, you can't. You can only teach for so many. Who's willing to be taught, but at least put out the effort. How many will do that? Well, I don't want to teach no kids. But it's all good. Well, Jackie, you got to think. We kind of, as not just black people, but just as American Western culture, we got away from being a community. We got away from being communal. We got away from being homegrown teachers, homegrown police officers, homegrown doctors, lawyers, nurses, construction workers, carpenters, laborers, engineers. We let all our best and brightest not even work in our areas anymore because we let them become rundown pieces of shit. Unfortunately, what's attractive to a new teacher? To go to the city where it's damn near like lean on me, or go to the county where you got higher pay, more incentives, and some of these schools are literally paying for your degree. Just give them 5 years. And here's the incredible part about it. What you gonna do? You're either gonna have to make your house a lot better, or you're gonna have to accept the failures that's been placed on it. Oh yeah. You got to think about it. Are police needed at the school? Yeah, but at a different capacity. I know Chris said he feels though teachers and police aren't needed. I think that a lot of times we forget to become what police are meant to be, you know, mentors, figures of authority, people who can solve issues, mediators, because God knows you do a lot of mediating in police work. And some of us are pretty damn good at it. And it's crazy because to make sure everybody likes the stream, I know I'm only getting the big numbers when I'm arguing with somebody, but this is also just. Sorry about that. I'm back. I'm back. Everybody called me. But yeah, the mediation part should be very easily the number one goal for the school resource officer or the school police officer. And a lot of times you're going to do a lot of counseling because God knows how many of these kids have been abused. God knows how many of these kids have been incorporated into gangs. You never know. The craziness about it is when you actually interact with kids, it's very interesting how a lot of people don't even give a damn about them. Teachers afraid of them. Nobody wants to talk to them. Shameful. Very shameful. I think that a lot of times that a lot of the teachers rely on them as a disciplinary action, and they're not. I will tell you that now. That's one of the issues I got with it. Like, as soon as the teacher doesn't like what you said or can't handle it, let's call the school police. They're gonna lock you up. Which I honestly think is wrong. Black have black, so you know, we don't have authority because especially when it comes from black male authority. Oh Lord, you shouldn't talk about our lace front. Shut up. You shouldn't talk about our weight. Shut up again. You shouldn't talk about my attitude. Shut up thrice. But at the same time, when we give these options for young black men to take leads, a lot of things in the society cuts them down at the knee. Which is not fair for anybody who's trying to get into those fields. But at the same time, like I said earlier, people still want you to pull miracles out of your ass. Damn shame, too. I'm going to drop the link for anybody who want to say anything. So, you want to come up and express your opinion about the subject matter? Please do. This ain't going to be a pretty long one. Tell me your thoughts. It should be quite interesting if anybody does come up. Because I really think that a lot of these officers are used in the wrong capacity. Some are used in the right capacity, but they should be a deterrent against people who want to commit crime and a deterrent against violence towards the students and the staff. But they should number one play the role of mediators. Ultimately. And if you don't have that, think of the places your children are going to school. Do you think they deserve the same protection as anyone else's kid? Yes. Officers should still be held accountable, but at the same time, let's preach that same thing to the students. Because there's a lot of these students putting their hands on teachers, but back in the day they would have got their lights put out. Well, nobody's coming up. I'll keep this short and sweet. I'll probably see y'all later today. Woo!